All right. Anyway, I hope I'm done here. I never expected to go this far into it. So the YouTubers, what I want to get at is the laws that are here in the land of the United States of America. I'm talking about the America. It's bad enough that we have separate laws within each state, separate laws within each county, within each township. It becomes very frustrating. With that being said, it's bullshit, and I think immediately today, especially within the recording, entertainment, music, everybody knows that's where all the money is in America. It's the entertainment capital of the world. And let me tell you something, America is. And there's a lot that can be done through entertainment and is all the time. It's called mind manipulation. And people like AC/DC and other bands too should stay out of the country. If they want to move to the United States country, then there's a process for it. But they shouldn't be allowed to come here and put people in debt and then leave. And I like AC/DC music. I still listen to AC/DC music. And being on YouTube or being on the internet and stuff like that is one thing. Being on mainstream television, radio. I shouldn't be going into a truck stop and hearing an AC/DC song today. I should hear, a Tracilyn song, okay? Period. Or somebody else that's wherever, that isn't tied into the bloodstream of other people in show business, because that's what they try to do. They try to hold their own family within it. And the only way you can do that is through a lot of corruption, okay? I met a person that was tied, that was close to like Toby Keith and Willie Nelson. What did they tell me? They told me that they were a founder of a band, and basically one of the original founders. I've heard this story many times, by the way, by different people. And what happens is, just like I showed you with that, that Todd Michael band or whatever, do you think I care? I don't care, but I'm showing you something, okay? This has happened to a lot of people. They like to keep people stressed, angry, confused, lost, fighting and arguing with each other over petty stuff, really. Most of it. And they want their little daddies and their little girls and their little princess and the Walton's niece and children, They want to make sure that they have plenty, don't they? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And the average American isn't in tune with it. But let me tell you something. I know a lot of people who are hurting. They're hurting, and it's because there aren't enough people reading the Bible and learning the truth. The real happiness is here, revealed. All right? So, with that being said, the same laws that are in the country should be on the internet. There's plenty of job positions, it's just that they changed. Who's supervising Mark and the people within Facebook to see that they're not corrupted? When was the last investigation in Facebook? I'm telling you, do it. If there's a team out there, do it. YouTube, do it. Do you know why? Because when they're playing psychological games with the viewers, with people, okay, and they're changing their view counts and they're taking down their content, you should be able to file suit against YouTube, file suit against Facebook for being corrupted. Now, how do you prove it? Well, you got to have an investigation. I'm telling you, if there's investigators out there, read the Bible. Maybe you don't know you're an investigator. You want to investigate Facebook and YouTube, social networks. They're very corrupted. A lot of people end up being bullied through them, not other users. In other words, like in my situation, a person, I believe is either Stephen C. Johnson or other people tied to him, they have access to my personal accounts. They can see via satellite. And I've seen that they change view counts, so that means they're coming from the inside, not just the outside. They block content, they change views, they add subscriptions, they friend you, right? They will delete conversations in your message box. They will pretend to be somebody that they know that you know on Facebook. And they'll duplicate their pages and then pretend to be them. I witnessed it. They did it to me. Because they try to get into the mind and try to get you to commit suicide while they're also playing with your head through electronic means. In other words, they try to wreck your thought process. They try to get you off the internet. Why is that? When you post content on the internet, why are you doing it? It's your freedom to express yourself. It's a place for you to network with other people that may find you interesting, attractive, whatever. Your music, for me, my music, for my pictures or whatever. Okay? Anytime you can do something to advance yourself out, to connect yourself into a relationship. I learned this when I was an escort. All it takes is one picture. And the phone will ring off the hook. Tracilyn's in town, I'll call her. It's the same with music. When you have great music like I do, you post it online, People become your friends. People invite you places, okay? Could be opportunities for whatever, a million different things. They wanted me to be like the father of rock and roll, and I'm not insulting him. But if you watch his videos, you can kind of see it looked like he may have had a mental challenge, okay? Just because I'm depressed, I've been diagnosed with depression, doesn't mean I'm mentally ill. If you've been diagnosed with bipolar or any of that, you're not mentally ill. By the way, this is inflicted by technology. I'm convinced that humans don't naturally have depression. It's forced upon, okay? And then they call it something, and then they write out a description what it is, and then they want you to take the pills. By law, hey Trump, why is it in order to be diagnosed with something that is been proven to be factually true, depression for instance, why is it that I would have to, by law, take medication when it's all resulted psychologically to your thought process? And a pill can't rearrange the words inside your head, jackass! No United States citizen should be forced to take pills because of a psychological condition. It's all about words, and everything's being artificially inseminated anyway by technology. All right? The people that you're taught to love and appreciate, maybe you would if you weren't going through all kinds of turmoil and realizing they don't have your back at all. And there is more BS within the system that the leaders of this country are neglecting. They're worthy. If I were to give you an inventory of all the things that need to be done in this country, just from my observation, the leadership of this country would be unemployed. They would be shit-canned. Okay? Nobody is, who's holding them accountable for their position? All right, it's 2008-19 now. The automotive industry left here when? Why are we still standing in line for food? Why isn't a huge grocery store being put up within a mile radius of wherever we are and it's free food for whoever? Forget about being low income. Why aren't we being able to get food that we need, the natural resource? Fresh food, fresh water. Why can't we get it for free? And why is it when we go to get a food card in America, in our local county office, why do they get the opportunity to put their nose where it don't belong in your financial department when it comes to like Social Security or if you're on some kind of low income source of whatever? That's BS. In a situation when somebody's on Social Security for any reason, it's not their business. Here's a paper, I'm on Social Security, don't worry how much money they give me. I'm a human being, my food shouldn't be with the limited financial resources that I have, Trump. Okay? The county should see to it that its United States citizens get X amount at least, for now, to eat every month. And don't worry about what the income is. It's none of their business. I'd love to talk about that stuff next year. I'm going to be making phone calls this year, actually this year coming up, into next year. I'm going to be calling. We're going to be calling the hospital and finding out, is this a chip? Do you think it's a chip in my head? All right? Trump, do you think there's a chip in my head? You think we all been chipped? All I wanted to do is live, just like anyone else, a decent life. And I am not somebody that is a quitter. I am sick after being on the streets. This, right here. This was one of the hardest times of my life. Bon fucking Jovi from New Jersey just so happened to show up in front of my face in Cincinnati. If he did it today, I would want to kick him in the face. Stay away from me, Bon Jovi. I don't like you. And Bret Michaels, I reached out to you years ago because other people led me to you. They kept on tormenting me. Hey, Bret, I gave you this, buddy. I gave you that. And now I'm giving you this. Take your picture off of the telephone pole in Dayton, Ohio. Stop trashing our city. It's already a dump. We got bed bugs all over the place. We got potholes all over the place. Abandoned buildings, the sidewalks are all torn up. Don't post your face on our telephone poles. Somebody cite him, fine him, and kick him out of the state. By the way, I almost died in Las Vegas when I heard Bret Michaels was in town. Do you think it's because of people that are around you, Bret, or is it you? Do you want these songs? Do you want them? How bad do you want them? How bad do you want them, Bret? What if I told you you could have my songs, these right here? If you can challenge yourself to step into a ring with me in a cage, no limits, all physical, no mental stuff. You want my songs that bad, is that it? Because you suck at writing songs? You still singing Every Rose Has Its Thorn? You still singing Talk Dirty to Me? After all these years, that's the best you can offer your frickin' fans? Hey, Bon Jovi, you want it dead or alive? Well, I guess it depends whose face you stand in front of while they're being tortured, mentally harassed. You ain't got anything new to sing for your fans? Tracilyn came out here. Tracilyn did. A very loving, caring person. All right? I was near death. Bon Jovi. And when I was in Delaware, Bon Jovi, I was warned to stay away. Be very careful of a person named John. I was also told and directed that what? Most likely, people within the realms of New Jersey is highly corrupted. Okay, so leave your corruption in New Jersey. I personally don't ever want to see you again. I have a psychological disorder. Maybe, just maybe, I should see you guys in court. Simply because you guys stimulate me mentally into a high form of stress and anger. Why is that? Because during this time right here, during one of the most bizarre occurrences in my life, you just so happened to appear during some of my weakest moments. Hey John, you want to play superhero? Why don't you stand in front of me during my strong moments? I invite you to. I live here in Dayton, Ohio. I'm not coming to you. I was offered to come by your house. I didn't want to. Why don't you come to mine? Huh? We could do this like the school days, right? I'll meet you out by the dumpster because that's where I live. How about I meet you by the dumpster? Do you want me to meet you at the airport? Old timer? Because let me tell you something. I've heard stuff about you specifically from people that I met in the music and entertainment industry. So I'm kind of convinced that you're a Satanist yourself, okay? I'm convinced, and I don't ever want to see you face to face again. That is the end of this. I don't want to talk about this stuff. What I wanted to talk about is now I am working on my music. I didn't want to talk this deep into the things that I'm talking about. But this is what has been going on. And to give you some insight, Stephen C. Johnson. You see this guy right here? If you're down in Nashville City and you see him, get a good look at him. I don't know what he looks like anymore. In my opinion, walk away. Run. Stay away from him. That is the person that actually invited me to his place in Derby, New York, and my whole life story is revealed where I'm sharing with you where it appeared to me that the person is literally a psychopath, in my opinion. He is most certainly connected to Willie Nelson, okay? And Paula, Willie Nelson's daughter, people like Madonna, etc., etc. I'm convinced. Now, being with the stories that I've heard, I'm also convinced that him and other people in the music industry prey on people they think are weak. Homeless, okay? Escorts. I'm convinced that somebody, right, at some point in my life, put a chip in me, probably at birth. I'm convinced that Satanists have accounts and they can literally, people can actually purchase or buy in order to have access to directly invade people's in America's privacy, to watch them via satellite like we're watching television, okay? To listen to their conversations, to invade their privacy. I'm also convinced that we may be absolutely 100% surprised to find out that people that you watch on TV and music videos or listen on the radio just might, maybe, possibly be listening and watching you. Okay? Make sure that you get it right. Read your Bible. From what I can tell you in my own life journey, this is what is necessary to get through this life. It's what leads us to our true identity, okay? That is very Christ-like, very loving, very caring, and also willing to flip tables and take rock stars who think that they can tread all over a Christian heart. A sweet, loving, caring person like this, and can literally flip them. Okay? These people have literally been trying to force themselves into my life. I say no. Just leave me alone. Okay? I reached out many times. Hey government, hey American people, do you know that I didn't have to get a form of assistance? Because these songs here say that I should probably be at least a millionaire, if not a multi-millionaire. Okay, just for being a songwriter. Do we get it? You see this here? Donald Trump. You see all these songs? Do you see them? I got much more than that, okay? I'm a great songwriter. I write with heart, and my privacy has been invaded. That's what happens to everybody. In fact, that's why I've learned Dayton, Ohio has the most worldwide patents for inventions, okay? Because while people are inventing their ideas, there's other people with electronic means who are stealing said ideas. No sooner was the Right B flyer made, bam, we got airplanes all over the place. They were watching them so close that they just decided to what? They wait until then they wait, and then they release everything themselves. In other words, they take ideas, just like songs, okay? They tried to get me to leave the country. They try to get you to move out of the country because there's different laws throughout throughout the planet. And they try to blame it on, well, you're LGBT. You know, you're trans. It'd probably be better for you. Listen, we're all transitional existences. We're all transitional life forms. Our identity is not the body. It's a mental identity. And they try to put everybody in a category. And don't be surprised if it's not because via satellite they don't try to target everybody's minds. Okay? They try to speed up your transition, meaning people age faster, stress and all that other stuff. They try to speed up your life transition. Most of the stuff that's being sold on television is focused on dead, or it's focused on sicknesses and stuff. Okay? Now, unless television has changed, and you listen to people talking about God, you're not going to hear them speaking about the absolute truth, that the heart is right here in your head, and that it's every word inside of your head that you've ever heard your whole life, and it's your belief system. And then they try to get you to believe that through psychological books, that what you talk about is exactly what you bring about. Not necessarily true, because many of us have talked about money, and where's the money at? Where is it? Guess it's invisible, okay? They want you to believe what they want you to believe. And I'm here to tell you, believe in what the Bible says, but be careful. Don't listen to a person's perspective and know somebody's invading your privacy and they're trying to get you to believe and to convince and fall into agreement with what they want. And this is why there's that many homeless people throughout the United States, hungry people. This is why there's people that are being sold into sex slavery. This is why people are going missing, okay? This is why your kid has attention disorder at school, ADD at school. When your child is playing a video game, just remember this, while they're playing a video game with all that abuse on it, or is it race cars? When I used to watch one of the kids I used to love at Huber Heights, I noticed how he would turn on me verbally. And it hurt because I wanted to love him, and I still do. But what I realized is something wasn't right, and what I've come to realize is when somebody's playing a video game, don't be so sure that while that game's running, a computer program isn't coming down to that person's head and causing all kinds of problems. People get on to prescription pills then to medicate, and most of the time it's artificially inseminated. The only way it's going to cure is if the military apprehends the people that are enforcing it via satellite. Okay? Not by taking a pill. Most of Americans' problems mentally, let alone physical, are inflicted by who are Satanists. Now, it's time that we stop avoiding what the heck is going on and we start realizing that this is real. Satanists do the work of Satan, and people who are in Christ are simply trying, in my opinion, to live a peaceful life and enjoy what they can while they can, in the form they are in, okay? And it is totally unjust that people in the entertainment industry keep buzzing around, and I'm telling you, stay away from me. Mainstream? Stay away from me. Unless you are a worldwide distributor of musical entertainment, of songs, and you're freaking serious about making big money, right? Major promotion, don't even reach out to contact me, because I am not interested, okay? I have life, and what I've realized is, in the time that I was most desperate, like in this video, okay, this is when all of a sudden my rock star heroes started showing up on the street. And the reason that they do that is because they try to instill fear into you. Though they're kind to you, they try to bully you mentally and psychologically while somebody's electronically harassing you. They do work, at least part-time, in honor of satanic ways. Okay? You don't have to believe me. The only way you're going to know it is if you have a CD and you keep reaching out. You keep reaching out and you don't give up. And you're a songwriter, make sure you write something really catchy about a serious subject. See, they want you to write the songs like you hear on the radio. Okay? Do you know why? Because it's all a distraction. Most of it is a distraction. When you start writing songs with heart, this heart, you put your thought into it about true belief systems, about what's going on from your perspective in this life journey, with the churches, with the leaders, with Satanists, with other people like Bon Jovi. They also think, because of stuff like that, I'm going to be doing an album covers. And one of them is going to be a Bon Jovi song, maybe two of them. They try to deter you from reaching out to these people with likes, if you will, or to do their songs, because they try to deter you away from everyone. And the reason that they do that is because they don't want anybody but who they want singing their songs and doing the things that they do. And I'm here to tell you, I'm going to do a Bon Jovi song. I'm going to do a couple of them. And here's the thing. I'm not doing it to piss them off. I'm doing it because I want to. Because I'm doing an album cover. And some of the people that I saw on the street were the ones that I was singing their songs while I was on the street. And I'm still going to record some of those songs. Okay? But I have truly realized that the people in mainstream, whoever they're connected to, okay, explains the reasoning behind a lot of rock stars' deaths, suicides, people like Kurt Cobain. Let's see, what song was that quick? Kurt Cobain. Okay, I want you to watch something here quick, and then I'm ready to go. Okay, you see that look on his face? Don't be surprised if that wasn't one of his competitors electronically harassing him during his performance in New York. Okay? I bet you if Kurt Cobain was still alive, if he is alive, he would probably tell you that he was a victim of electronic harassment. You see that look? Many people have talked about that for quite a few years. It's during his performance where he's singing "Where Did You Sleep Last Night" is New York Unplugged. They can actually literally zap you that you get what's a sensation of dry mouth. They can zap your sinuses. They can make your throat tingle. They can zap your toes. I have picked out a hangnail in my big toe, and in order to prevent healings, like when people have surgery and stuff, they target that. That's how close they can see you, and that's how well they know you. And then they try to keep it from healing. So if you have any kind of surgery, see, my grandmother, Gladys, she used to rock a lot in a rocking chair, and she would hum all the time. She loved Jesus very much, and she was a worship leader. Satanists don't like worship leaders. They don't like people who speak openly about their love of Christ and their love of life and the Holy Bible. They just simply don't like anything that is of good. If you look online, you will find out that people are continuously acknowledging that they're being electronically harassed. I met somebody when I was at LCBC, and it was made very clear to me that the poor girl was suffering, enduring something, but I didn't know if it was a demon. I didn't know what was going on. And now I realize it wasn't a demon. She had a chip in her too. We all had chips in us. And see, what they try to do is they try in a very dull, boring way that by the time a person gets to be a certain age, there's certain things that should start happening in that person's life, like their health deteriorating. Their life is kind of spiraling down, and we're getting older now. It's not true. You're not getting older, and your health is not spiraling. In fact, you can start getting healthier now. Just by reading the Bible, you can look 20, 30 years younger because the spirit of life comes to life inside your brain. And now you look like you're only, what? A teenager in your early 20s? They can't stand that because that's a sign of Jesus. See, my testimony is Jesus. And don't be surprised if when they see stuff like that, they don't start pushing the whole transitional thing right into the lives of others. In a manner, they want to grab hold of the information and the knowledge out there because they want people to believe what they want them to believe. Only we were never taught how this happens. They monitor everything through our technology. They can see us very closely. Okay? They don't like anybody whatsoever that shows signs of freedom. Now, if you remember, this same person who supposedly had his head blown off by a shotgun, we don't know if it was real or not, also had a video online, at some point, because I had shared it a while ago, just mentioning about how somebody like, for instance, Bon Jovi is what they were talking about, where David Grohl mentions that the flatteration of knowing somebody like Bon Jovi was following the trend of Nirvana, who was the up-and-coming in the 90s. So in other words, somebody like Bon Jovi follows trends instead of being a leader. He's more of a follower. So when somebody comes arising, like in a flannel shirt and jeans started becoming popular, and the look that Nirvana had, much different than the glam bands of the 80s, yes or no? Yeah, of course. So with that being said, they said it, not me, but I shared that video. And I seen that. And if you pay attention and you learn about, like, Kurt Cobain had problems his whole life with his stomach, okay, hurting. These Satanists can literally, through a computer program via satellite, they can literally inject artificial pain into you. I met a guy through a girl I was dating years ago that was barred to a wheelchair, okay? He had some kind of muscular dystrophy problem, some sort of problem similar to that. And with that being said, I knew inside of my heart that this was not right. In other words, I didn't know how it was happening. I didn't know if it was a demon. I didn't know what was going on, but it didn't seem like anything that would be in alignment with being a true sickness. And what I've come to realize is I don't want to say yes or no, but now I'm more convinced that I was right and that he was a victim of electronic harassment. And when he had a chip in him, they just set the program for what they want to do to people. And there's a lot of people that are out there that may have twitches. Okay? You're twitching. Can I tell you something? You're being electronically harassed most likely. Okay? I'm convinced that a lot of people's learning challenge. Okay? they stimulate the brain, and it kind of has its own heart pace when it's doing that. You're being electrocuted in a sense. They try to distort everything to make it hard for you to live your life. We're not taught these things. These are things that you come into when you start getting things right by reading the Bible. Doesn't mean that when you read the Bible you get tortured. See, I'm holding on to God's promises that everything's going to be all right. Why in the world a small percentage of people would have such awful means to technology and destruction of others? The question has rose to me, is Bon Jovi, is these other people like Bret Michaels, was Nirvana, is the girls in rock and roll, is Miley Cyrus or Billy Cyrus, or people in country music. I can't imagine that Satanists would ever give any allowance or permission to the human race in leadership of any kind or in life without them knowing we're watching you. We might even be inside of you. They call it the spirit of oneness. Okay? Well, understand this. There's some of the spirit that is true and of life and is for life, and then there is this awful evilness, and I don't know myself, is it a demon or is it artificially inseminated by people from another country? Do you think China or Japan or other countries like Australia or Russia or something like that has that much authority and power over the human race? Notice that NASA, a large portion of NASA, left. Okay? There's a lot of areas within the United States that Americans are not allowed to go, and by law, that should not be permissible in my opinion. In other words, there should always be an investigation crew that has the right at any time to be able to acknowledge what is going on within our police departments, what is going on within our government, okay? And how they live their life on and off the clock really should matter. See, we get targeted all the time as United States citizens. But what we have to realize is the leadership of this country took leadership positions. They're supposed to be in favor of life, and there is a huge demand for positions for that. But the truth of it is, are they being held accountable for their position and their doings? Who's monitoring that? Who's volunteering that? Who's saying that the needs have to come and the time has to come where the politicians have to start being responsible and held accountable, that when they made promises when they took office and it wasn't fulfilled, that they get sued for all the money back for the American people? In other words, if Trump joined office, then I'm just using him as an example because I don't follow politics. So I'm only using him as an example. If Trump made promises in order to take a position at the White House, and by the time his term is up, if it can be proved that he didn't fulfill what he said he was going to do, then should he be incarcerated for lying to the American people and saying that he was going to do something and not holding firm to it? Should all the money that was given to him while he was in office be given back to the American people because they didn't get out of him what he promised he would submit to? Okay? In other words, do we get like going to Walmart, if you buy something, okay, and you're not satisfied with it, you take it back. Walmart's pretty cool with that. Thank you, Walmart. We can go back in line. We can return our item. We all did it sometimes many times. We return an item we're not satisfied with, or for whatever reason we don't need it now. And the truth of the matter is, we get our refund. When a leadership in a leadership position in the United States take a position, they don't deliver what they said they would, do we get a refund of all the money that we gave them for the term that they were in? No. What we do is we not only let them have what they had taken for a salary, okay, but we also continue to pay them after they're out of office. Why? Why? Did Obama fulfill everything he said he was going to? And is he still receiving compensation from the American people with health benefits as well for his wife and everyone else? People, wake up. Why? Why would you go to work so Donald Trump can sit at the White House or in the Trump Tower at a beautiful table and have a beautiful meal with his family? Why should you pay for that? You shouldn't. I shouldn't. Nobody should. Trump should pay for it himself. Okay? And any president that takes a White House leadership position and doesn't take it serious enough to leave their clothing on during the term they're in, he can be in penthouse suite afterwards if he wants to. You know, he could be in beforehand. But if he's going to be in the White House, I'm here to tell you that there's no way that you're going to have that much free time that you can goof off with pictures and images online versus all the responsibilities that come along with being a president. And who's here to say that it's only a 40-hour-a-week job? 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day. Think about what it's like to run your normal household. Okay? And what else is going on that we're not aware of? If they were to be completely honest, when they take a position like that, a leadership position, is there people that are not only coming to them physically, but they're coming and they're zapping their brain and letting them know that they have to sign this bill or that bill for this favor? In other words, there's people that try really hard to attempt leaders in leadership positions to get out of them what they want. That's just like with me. They were trying to get me to commit suicide for years. They tried to scare me by doing satanic rituals on me and stuff and using their Hollywood effects. They tried to get me scared when I was down here at the Oregon District and when I was out in Cincinnati, Ohio, trying to deter me that I'm not going to be anything more than a local poco or the father of rock and roll. They told me it was very important for me to understand the father of rock and roll, because within that we will learn that the song That's All Right Mama was written by the father of rock and roll but made popular by Elvis Presley, and the father of rock and roll psychologically announced verbally that he didn't understand a lot of things because basically that song made a lot of money and he only got a very small fraction of it. Okay, which makes Elvis Enterprise, shame on you, shame on you. King of rock and roll mistreating somebody like that, that's not good. That's not good, Elvis Enterprise. Okay, you should really make good of that. How? I'm sure the father of rock and roll had some kind of family. You know, make good of it. Here's the thing. This is coming from somebody who loved Elvis Presley music, etc., etc. I've realized that they will keep on using the image of Elvis through his family, like Lisa, like the other kids, and etc., and keeping a man's career going that, in my opinion, most likely probably faked to death. Okay, was it real? Was it not real? Is it up to the American people to know and hold this accountable for it or not? Okay, I know that when I started talking about this before, even online, that I started to realize that I was being talked to by people from Las Vegas that had asked me if I really do believe whether or not Elvis Presley faked his death or not and was still alive. Okay? What does it matter? Okay? He's just a man, all right, who had talent and was good looking. They tried to get me deterred so that I wouldn't sing the songs that I wrote. Okay? That's why. I wrote Ragtop Cadillac. It's a song celebrating the 50s. Stephen C. Johnson, in my opinion, thought that he could have me kill myself. He thought I would willingly give him publishing rights to my music. Stephen, you're an asshole. I ain't giving the publishing rights of my music to nobody. Get that in your head. Okay? Deal with it. We made a shitty demo when we were in New York. Nothing would be put in writing. Why is that? Because he said very little in this business gets put in writing, and I disagree. Everything gets put in writing for life. That's what this is all about. It's all in writing. And nobody's gonna give the rights to their music to anybody for any reason whatsoever. So, anyway, I'm out of here. Understand? I got to do one more thing yet. Hold on. This was all about electronic. And I'm going to be breaking a Tim McGraw CD, but I want to. This is CD. I used to listen to it in the 90s. When was it published? 1995 by Curb Records, which everything that I've heard says Curb was very, 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 very criminal-like. Curb Records out of Tennessee was very criminal-like. Okay? Loves to bulldog people around. Curb Records, whoever you are. Okay? I heard a lot about you that was all pretty awful. You know, what a jackass if it's true. Okay. Breaking of Tim McGraw's CD. I'm going to break that CD, and let me tell you about it once I get a new battery, and I need to quick save this information, and then we're good to go. I don't believe that anybody in the music mainstream is what I'm talking about. Mainstream is any more worthy of their position than anyone else, especially somebody like me who has a proven history of working my ass off, okay? I reached out to numerous people over and over and over again. I was always rejected. And then I found out during my time of suicidal thoughts, if you will, racing, they were artificially inseminated, and then these rock and rollers, if you will, these people in the music and mainstream entertainment industry started showing up in front of me. They were trying to taunt me. They were trying to scare me into freaking out that I get it. They're invading my privacy. They're using my ideas, my creative insights. They're using me as an inspiration, as a resource, a human resource. And, and why do they do it? For psychological gain. When they write songs, they write for the general masses of people, and they need resources of people who are really living the life, and they look down on people like me. Well, let me tell you, John Bon Jovi, I look down on you, buddy, okay? And I don't ever want you coming to my face again in this lifetime, ever. Let's see. I believe I am all around worth more and valuable to the human race for many reasons. For many reasons. And let me see. And if you find yourself 40 years later still listening to a Tim McGraw song on the radio that you heard 30 years ago or whatever, or any of the other people, girls too, the bottom line is we all know that that's unjust, it's not fair, and it's psychologically it's unhealthy for the general masses. For many reasons. Leave comments, reach out to me, let's talk about it. Let's find out why it's unhealthy, okay? And maybe a lot of those homeless recording artists, homeless songwriters wouldn't be homeless if the boys down in Nashville would stop being fucking selfish and being radio hogs, okay? CMT is not Kenny Chesney, Toby Keith, Willie Nelson, and Tim McGraw, okay? Reminds me of the McGraw, a cartoon. Is that it? This used to be one of my favorite CDs back in the 90s. It's 2018, 2019 now. I shouldn't hear one of these songs on the radio anymore. Do you know how much money these people make as songwriters, as publishers? How much money do you think Curb Records made off of this album specifically? Okay? Are you still going to a Tim McGraw concert and hearing him sing any of these songs?